Today we're talking about Flying Vs. Let's get to it. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about a little bit about my journey with Flying Vs, why I like them, a couple of little cons about them as well. But yeah, a couple of cool facts. There are a lot of guitar brands out there that do a Flying V shape. They don't all look like this, but they are similar. But mine are Gibson, so I can only kind of speak on those because they're really the only ones I've kind of played. I've played a couple of other guitars, other Vs before, but these are really the ones that I've kind of sat down and really kind of worked out. So, I mean, cool little fact as well. This shape was actually around before the SG. Now, you know, you guys out there that have followed me for a little while know how much I love my Les Pauls and SGs, but this shape was actually around before the SG, which is kind of cool because the SG to me is more of a classic look than this, but whatever. So my journey actually started with a bit of a guitar kit that I think I was given as a present many years ago, that I was like, cool, I haven't had a Flying V before, and let's dive into it and mess around a little bit. So painted it black, threw some EMGs in it, blacked out all the hardware. It kind of looked a bit like this without the Floyd Rose FRX. Also, I'm not a massive Floyd Rose guy. I've got a few guitars that have them. I love this system. It's fairly easy to install for someone that's never really done much work on guitars. It sounds great. It looks kind of cool. Adds a little bit of weight to your guitar as well, which, I mean, I feel that these are fairly balanced on a strap, but it does help balance it out a little bit more as well if you need. But awesome. Floyd Rose FRX. Check them out. So yeah, I went from the guitar kit that was, let's be real, it was a guitar kit. It didn't play that great. To going back to the Les Pauls and SGs because kind of that's home for me. But then I came across this. Now, guys out there that have followed me for a little while, you would have seen that I've done a fair few videos with this. This is a great guitar. This is a Gibson Flying V Custom Zakk Wylde, or Zakk V. I get asked about this guitar a lot. I've actually had this one personally signed by Zakk when he was in Australia here in March. And he even made comments about this guitar saying how cool it was. It's a low number, I think. This one's number 49. I'm not sure how many were made, but I don't think there's a lot. But this is a great guitar. Now, I've always looked up to guys like Zakk, as you know, Randy Rhoads, James Hetfield, Kirk Hammett, Richie Faulkner, all these guys, and they've all played Flying Vs at some point. So I've always looked at a Flying V going, they are an awesome guitar. They look cool. I mean, and all the records that you've heard them on, they sound great. But like a lot of you guys out there, you've probably tried a Flying V and thought, not for me. They're too uncomfortable. I thought that too, until I actually started jamming with this. Because like I said, I got this, and when I got it home, I actually bought it more of as a bit of a collector thing because, like I said, to my knowledge, there's not a great deal of these made. It looks cool, and I thought I'm just going to use it as a bit of just an at-home player, just for some fun. And then I started playing it, and I thought, wow, this is honestly one of the best guitars I've played. Like it's just, I can't fault it. It's just a great guitar. Then I started working out ways to make these a bit more beneficial and comfortable to play. So a lot of people will sit there and play a guitar like this. Now, this kind of probably looks a bit awkward and it feels awkward because the guitar slides off like so. So you use this little V cutout and you throw it on your leg like that. And look at that. It just sits nice. Now, a lot of guys out there have played guitar like this before. Classical position. Cool. I also have as well. So I then kind of thought, well, let's throw the Flying V like this. Now, the reason why I like this position is like this. If you go to stand up, the guitar doesn't change. Okay. So this has also helped with a lot of practicing as well. Because I mean, everyone always says you practice standing up. If you're going to play gigs or standing up, practice standing up. Now, I do agree with that, but I also find sometimes, and I'm speaking on myself, you get lazy and you want to sit down and just practice. So if you practice like this, to me, it's very close to standing up because the guitar does not change. So that's one cool thing about the Flying V is to sit comfortably and practice comfortably, you've kind of got to sit it down like this or stand up. So I find that's a good benefit for practicing, to get used to standing. So I find that very cool. I also found the neck on this guitar in particular it was awesome. It's like playing like butter. You fly through it. It feels great. But even standing up, I find that a Flying V is very well balanced. It doesn't dive much. It actually, for me, they naturally sit like this, which is kind of how I like the guitars to sit. So I found that really cool. I also found that, in my opinion, because they're a bit chunkier than an SG in somewhat, they have obviously a little bit more weight, but that also, they're probably not as heavy as an SG as well. Like, it kind of contradicts itself because they're missing that big chunk of wood there. So for me, it was like the happy middle ground between a Les Paul and an SG. It had those warm tones as a Les Paul, but it also had that snappiness of an SG as well. But it's also its own shape. It looked completely different. So it's kind of best of both worlds. If you're a Les Paul guy or an SG guy and you want to kind of meet in the middle, get yourself a Flying V. From there, I thought I loved this that much. I wanted to start gigging with a Flying V as well because they just played great. I mean, obviously with the Les Paul, you can't get this higher fret access like you can with an SG. But on these, like you can. So I was like, well, maybe I throw a V in the rack, but I didn't want to throw this in the rack because I'm like, well, I mean, it's a Zakk Wylde V. Like I said, I don't think there's many made, and I don't really want to take this bad boy out and gig with. As much as I look up to Zakk and guys like that, I don't really want to be taking their signature models out and playing with them. That's just me. So I came across this bad boy to my left. Now, I think this is a 2016 Gibson Flying V Trad Pro, I think it might be called. It did not really look like this when I got it. It had gold knobs, I think it was zebra pickups, chrome hardware. So I've thrown in some EMGs, blacked out all the hardware, stripped all the hardware off the guitar kit that I was talking about a bit earlier, threw that on, and threw this Floyd Rose FRX on, which I kind of spoke about before. Great system. Looks cool. It works. It's a great guitar. So I got this. Now, one thing that really appealed to me was because I like guitars with binding. I'm a custom guy. Now, this isn't a custom, but the binding just looks cool. It really breaks up a bit of that black. So I was like, well, yeah, I couldn't find a Flying V custom that I liked or could afford because they are up there. I came across this and I was like, you know what, that's cool. That's going to do. So blacked it out, kind of got it, threw it in our tuning for my band, which is, this one's tuned to C sharp standard. But I've actually added just recently I think it's called the EVH detuner. So now I can play drop B because some of our songs are in drop B as well. So that's kind of cool. I haven't actually gigged with it since I've thrown that on because I've only done that maybe in the last month. But so far, really like this system. It was a little bit finicky getting it to tune in tune, obviously in this tuning, but I think I've nailed it now and it seems to work great. So I kind of got this how I wanted, and I started kind of just messing around with it. Now, like I said, it's just a great guitar. And I'm honestly, like, Flying V's are very fastly moving up the chain for me in guitars. Since I've actually had this, I've probably used this more at gigs than my Les Pauls. Not saying that I like these better than Les Pauls, but they are up there. I mean, Les Pauls, SGs, and Flying V's for me now are my three go-tos. Like I said, they look cool. They sound great. They feel great. You can get higher fret access without kind of maneuvering the guitar around like you do with a Les Paul. They've got a nice weight to them, so they're not going to break you back, but they're also not as light as a feather. The ones that I've played aren't anyway. But they just feel great. So if you haven't tried a Flying V, and you can go to a shop and try them out, or you've got a Flying V and you've struggled playing it sitting down, try a couple of things that I've said. You've probably worked it out anyway. But yeah, I mean, they were definitely onto something in the 50s. I mean, look at that. It's just a great guitar. If you've got any questions about the Flying V's or any of the other guitars that I've got, or just any general music questions, leave them below. because I'm always happy to answer questions in the comments. Please subscribe. I'm going to try to post a few more YouTube things as well. So if you also have any input that you want to see me do, whether it's rundowns or tutorials or anything like that, also leave that below as well, because I'm just trying to do as much as I can on my YouTube, and I want to keep you guys as interested as I possibly can. So thanks for checking out my 2 Flying Vs for the day, and thanks for listening to me rabble on. I'll see you next time.